Doctor Who Series 11, Episodes 1 to 4, titled The Time Warrior. Now, this story is, of course, the beginning and the end for the Third Doctor, it being his final season, but it's also the introduction of several elements. Let's check my notes. This is the introduction of a big-name companion named Sarah Jane Smith, who showed up in the Revival, in the original Russell T Davies era, and had a 4-season spin-off series. So Sarah Jane Smith shows up in this as a new companion for the Doctor. But it's also the introduction of Sontarans. That's right, there's Sontarans. And so you're like, okay, let's see. How is the final first story for the Third Doctor? How is it? Unless you count Big Finish. But for television, how is it? It's good. It's a good... I was watching it, I was like, I'm digging this. This is a really well put together piece of story. This is a good story for introducing all these elements, which is Sontarans and Sarah Jane and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if your question is, what's the story about? What the story is about, the Weirdair is asking the Doctor, find these scientists. The Doctor, they see scientists missing around all around the UK. I want you to find these scientists as possibly be. Here's this scientist known as Sarah Jane Smith, a reporter, but she's going to pretend she is not a reporter and investigating stuff. But she's going to help you, and she's going to help you stop these scientists. And the Doctor finds the scientists in the middle of medieval times. And they run by and they're getting forced to build this ship for a Sontaran, because a Sontaran crash landed and crashed at this castle that's run by actual people, the human bad guys, you may say. And while they agreed to have the Sontaran built their ship, the deal is the Sontaran is going to give guns to these knights to win a war. And that's a bad thing for the Doctor's mind, because there's a risk of, if you give guns now, what the hell are they going to be making now? If you give guns now in medieval times, suddenly in the 18th century, suddenly we're getting atomic bombs and all that kind of stuff. So there's a level of doomsday panic there. So the Doctor needs to save the scientists and also start a Sontaran at the same time. And I mean, this story for me, I found to have a quicker pace as well. I mean, it is 4 episodes, but sometimes the 4 episodes can feel a bit shorter or feel a bit longer. This one feels a wide, certain pace with this story. The interesting stuff is with Sarah Jane and the dynamic between the Doctor and Sarah Jane in this, because she's quite defensive towards the Doctor. She's, walks into the TARDIS as a stowaway, not understanding how he is. I mean, she's the first companion ever that I have experienced that did not freak out that the TARDIS is big on the inside. So you can tell that already she is like a non-nonsense type of character, and how things need to be very practical. Because she's in the medieval point of view, and it makes sense. She's trying to think, she doesn't believe she just got time traveled. So she's like, oh, this must be a medieval tourist thing, or a film set, or something. She's trying to think very practically. So she's a very practical character, a very non-nonsense kind of character, and trying to make things very illogical explanations. Because while she's figuring things out, she believes the Doctor's working with the Sontarans and are human bad guys, and is the reason that the scientists are disappearing. But then the more the facts come up, the more that she believes in the Doctor and is with the Doctor again, and sees that the Doctor is just a good person and all this kind of stuff. And you see the team kind of slowly forming in these 90 minutes, versus that, versus like, oh, you're the doctor, you're the companion, I guess you guys are meant to get along, so you get along just like that. There's some misunderstandings, misunderstandings and all that jazz. The Sontarans design, I mean, look, it's the first time we ever seen them. Back in 1974, 1974, it was the first time people ever saw these creatures. And, the idea is they're not meant to be the most attractive aliens on the face of the earth. They're meant to be battles. They're meant to be, all about the warrior and all about the war, and about the war between the Sontarans and the Woofens. And that. So, I find the design of the Sontarans kind of linked to what they're meant to be and all that. There's no, you can tell that through the many years the Sontarans haven't really changed that much. Through the motivations and all that, not caring about human life, or not caring about anything about the mission, about the war, and you think, oh, the Sontarans are the Sontarans. But probably didn't want to wear a horse. I thought that would be one of the top of the food chains. But yeah, I found it pretty neat. I mean, it was kind of annoying with the high level sound effects, and I felt like I just woke up my entire neighborhood. But and definitely with that giant scream, I was like, Jesus, lady, you can scream. I mean, probably the only criticism I have is that even though I say it's a perfect pace, the third act, episode 4, it did feel like, okay, you're doing like 5 different villains here. You really want us to make a sacrifice thing, but you realize it's there to ensure that there's a connection with it. Like that Sarah Jane is helping the Doctor. Because I'm thinking the scene where that the Doctor's getting shot at, because each of the guards are learning how to use a gun, and the Doctor's just like moving left and right and kind of doing a dance and all that kind of stuff, because he's meant to be executed. While the Doctor's like, meanwhile, Doctor's just moving left to right and to the side and that type of thing. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed this episode. Nothing really much to complain about. But anything that I found to be like, oh, I found it dragged over here, but you realize there's a reason there. There's a reason why there's an element there. So the moment for me what I found with the story is that the Time War is one of those stories that felt quite dipping my hand into a criticism and then thinking, oh, wait, there's a reason behind that. So there's nothing that crazy onto it. Anyway, next time it is all about Invasion of the Dinosaurs, which is why I hear is not that fantastic. So yay. Yippee, 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 when that comes along.